Alright, I finally get to do more Great Ace Attorney. I don't play this game for like a day, and then I get all crazy. And I'm like, no, no, I need to play my Great Ace Attorney. So, we're gonna do Trial Part 2. So apparently there's 3 parts to this trial, so we're on Part 2 right now, so once we get to Part 3, I'm pretty sure that's the finale. I don't know how long it's gonna be, though. Like, I think at most, it could probably be like 3 more episodes, which will line it up with around how long the first game was. But anyways, it looks like we need to, press Seishiro. I forgot I kind of left off at a weird spot. I had a guest waiting for me when I returned to my cabin after finishing my evening meal in the dining room. When I walked through the door, a mustachioed Englishman was there, foolishly waving a gun at me. I soon took care of him with an Ippen Seiyar throw though. What? A what now? I don't know what that is. He couldn't wait to run away after that. I imagine his watch was broken when I threw him over my shoulder. It has nothing to do with his murder. The inspector was clearly killed, having returned to Britain, because his body was found in London. Whatever happened to the Seishiro takedown? I thought that's what it was called. Ippon Seoi? A common jujutsu martial arts technique in my country. I was careful not to use too much force, but the man obviously landed too heavily for his watch to take. So, Ryunosuke Naruhodo, I imagine you can see the flaw in your logic now, can't you? What? The fact that the pocket watch was broken in the witness's cabin in no way proves that the victim's murder took place there. Oh, we're not even like a few minutes in and I'm already slamming into the goddamn wall. I've no doubt the inspector intended to kill me, but he didn't manage to pull the trigger. Yes, because he was merely the tactician, not the Reaper's hand of death. Well, the testimony appears to make perfect sense as far as I can tell. Yeah, no, I don't believe that. Also, it's like not even 8 in the morning, and I'm recording this like so. It's like the earliest I recorded since like Bug Fables, I think. Back when I did that, I'd always wake up at like 6 in the morning to record really early. But if this testimony holds, Judge Jigoku will be deemed to have no involvement in the case. Well, counsel, I really see no reason for wasting precious court time here on the cross-examination. Slap. Sorry, my lord. The defense has a right to cross-examine, and I don't intend to squander that. You're an embarrassment to your countrymen, not knowing when you're beaten. In that case, proceed, Mr. Naruhodo. Man, that kind of reminds me of fucking Jim Houseman, where he's like, you guys are an embarrassment to the 1950s, or whatever the fuck he says. Hold it! Because the so-called guard post at your cabin door has just let the killer pass him in. Apparently, Gregson told the crewman he was a police inspector, which was the truth, of course. He wouldn't have had his identification with him, though. He had his trench coat and mustache, not to mention the bag of chips. I imagine the crewman was convinced. Well, what if it was, I don't know, maybe it's possible that wasn't Gregson. Maybe that was Daily Vigil again. But the man accompanying him would have had 2 swords slung around his waist. Well, actually, if he didn't have his ID on him, then I guess that would have been the real Gregson, because he gave his ID to, Vigil. You mean me? Who else? Yes, that's true. You would have hoped the sight of a few swords might have set off alarm bells in the god's head. The point is, I left the cabin before its occupant returned, and I immediately disembarked the ship. Certainly. All I can tell you is that only the inspector was waiting for me when I arrived back at my cabin. Was it a cozy cabin? And you entered without any inkling of suspicion? That's right. None whatsoever. Foolishly waving a gun. Just the term waving a gun just makes me think about Adachi. Obviously, you're talking about Inspector Gregson. Ah, some good tea. Yes, though at the time I didn't know the man's name, and there was no time for introductions. I value my life over manners. By which you mean that the inspector was there to assassinate you, I suppose. That was certainly an impression given by the gun pointing in my direction. But I've never seen the muzzle of a revolver shake about so much in my life. Anyone would think the man had never shot somebody before. The way you hold your gun, those are rookie's eyes. Believe it or not, most of us haven't. Anyway, there was no time to call for the help of the crewman at the door, so I dealt with the man myself. Man, bro must be jacked if he can throw a fucking policeman across the room. Hold it! Even though the man had a gun? That was a very brave move, wasn't it? My Ippon Seoi is far faster than a bullet, I can show you. But surely all that commotion caused the crewman to come in, didn't it? Yes, of course. He burst in immediately without knocking. The inspector hurled himself at the stocky fellow, and just managed to slip past him to make his escape. Yeah, standing guard does it again. Luckily, there aren't any situations I can't get out of using a quick Ippon Seoi throw. I imagine it. Oh, okay, yeah. Don't need to read that. I already did that. The crown snapped off and the glass covering the face of the watch was cracked. Preferable to the man's head being pulled off or his spine cracking, what did you say? Not that the man was spared for long. A bullet to the chest soon saw to that. But the point is, the broken pocket watch doesn't prove that a murder took place. Absolutely not. All the watch proves is the power of my jujutsu throw. Whatever you say, it doesn't quite ring true that no shot was fired in the cabin. Because there was an obvious bullet hole in the wall. What are you talking about? Huh? That's what the star of your lowbrow detective stories told you, is it? Well, I don't care for such fiction. Haven't you worked it out yet, you little stripling? No murder took place in my cabin. Well, we gotta prove then that that guns were fired. But there's no evidence that proves the victim ever returned to London alive. Just take a moment to think that idea of yours through now, stripling. Why'd you call me stripling? I'm not in the mood for chicken strips right now. If the inspector was killed on the steamship in France, how on earth could he have gotten back to Britain? I don't know, they probably dumped his body off at Britain or something. When people die, their bodies remain at the same spot. It's a devil of a thing. Well then, obviously the culprit must have moved the body. How exactly? Carrying a corpse off a ship in your arms would raise a few eyebrows at least, don't you think? Well, yes, that's true, but... All passenger luggage is inspected when it's unloaded from arriving vessels. And I would like to think that border police would query the corpse of an English gentleman as had luggage. If the murder had taken place aboard the ship, you would imagine the body would have been disposed of at sea. What, did they just throw the fucking body into the ocean? It's kind of fucked up. There'd be no sense in risking being caught by attempting to transport the body back to Britain. Let's kill the idea, then. But perhaps not. Miss Suzuto? We've heard that the first-class passengers were under constant scrutiny by the crewmen posted to guard them. Which would mean that the culprit had no opportunity to dispose of the body in the sea. Yes, that's true. So transporting the body to Britain may have been the only viable alternative. Dear me, you really are new to this, aren't you? I thought I'd been perfectly clear, but it seems I'm going to have to explain it in words you can understand. I think I ought to alter my testimony, with your consent, of course, my lord. I have no objection. State your amended testimony now. Okay, he has to amend it. There's no possible way I could have transported the victim's corpse back to Britain. I don't suppose I could present the trunk, right? I'm just gonna have a look at this blood again. Yeah, I can't really skip this. It's the same dialogue. I mean, it's worth a try, right?
Objection.
Nope. Okay. I guess that's not it. Maybe I could press it and see something.
Hold it.
There's an idea. Think about it, stripling. All passengers and crew disembarked at the same time and passed the same checks at the border. The symposium guests were then driven straight to the hotel in carriages organized by the ministry. And we met you as soon as you arrived at the hotel. My 7 Cooper hotel. So you did. Well then, remind me, did I have a corpse over my shoulder at the time? No. So we're in agreement then. I couldn't possibly have brought the inspector's body back to Britain. Unless, of course, they developed some clever device these days to instantly move things from A to B. Funny you should say that. Professor Hairbrain's invention didn't actually work, if you remember, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, of course. The fence has become unusually quiet, I noticed. Yes, because there's really nothing more to say. So that's the story. Well, I suppose if you think about it, whenever you drop a teacup in the office and it breaks, we don't say Mr. Naruhodo must have murdered there, do we? Is that a veiled threat about what might happen to me if I break another one? And the fact is that Inspector Gregson's body was found in the little room on Fresno Street. If he really was killed in Judge Jigoku's cabin, the body would have to be moved somehow, obviously. Transporting a dead body over a country border, that would be impossible for the majority of people. So there must have been some special circumstance that made it possible for the culprit. Well, yeah, he does. He does have special, permissions, because... what was it? I don't know if we have evidence, necessarily. But... wasn't there a statement about, like... Oh, do we present the evacuation drill again? I don't know if we do that. Yeah, I don't think we have evidence of this, but didn't Mikatoba say that Jigoku was able to, like, get past the checks because he's a judge? So how do we prove that exactly? I don't know. I'm gonna have to figure that part out. I'm gonna make a save, but I feel like that's what I have to prove here. Because he wouldn't get checked by the police because he's a judge. But the question is how? I don't know which evidence. Do I present the drill again?
Objection.
No. It's not the drill. I wish I had a way to present the fact that he's a judge. Could be the letter of introduction, maybe. I don't know if that's it. Do I have anything that relates to him? I kinda wanna present the photograph.
Objection.
Oh, that's it. There's no possible way you could have moved Inspector Gregson's body, you say? I would say the opposite's true. And what's that supposed to be? Far from being impossible for you to do. The transporting Inspector Gregson's body is something only you can do. What are you talking about, Ryunosuke? As well as being a judge, Mr. Jigoku is also Japan's Minister of Foreign Affairs. See, that's what I wanted to prove. Okay, I'm glad I presented the photograph then. Which means he's exempt from having his luggage searched when he enters the country. We learnt that when we first met you upon your arrival in London. Okay, yeah. See, I knew this was gonna come up somehow. I just didn't know how to prove it. I thought, like, the photograph makes the most sense to me. Yeah. I presume you recall this, Judge Jigoku. It's a photograph we took in the foyer of the hotel to mark the occasion. As the court will note, you have with you your large travel trunk. Large enough, in fact, to have a corpse inside. Oh, I didn't even notice the trunk. I was just trying to prove that he, like, gets past the checks. Mr. Naruhodo, surely you're not suggesting... I'm afraid I am, yes. 3 days ago, when we were chatting innocently with the new arrival from Japan in the hotel, the body of Inspector Gregson was just meters away from us, inside Judge Jigoku's trunk. Wow. That's crazy to think about. Order in the court. I'm skeptical, counsel, that a grown man's body could fit inside even the largest travel trunk. It could. Because I happen to know that the witness himself, a man of considerable size, fits inside his trunk. And verifying that would be extremely simple, wouldn't it, Judge Jigoku? Unless he's gonna deny that. But inside his trunk? How horrifying. And after we'd spoken with you at the Great Waterloo Hotel, you had the opportunity to visit the apparent scene on Fresno Street. Taking your trunk with you in a cab to deposit the inspector's body. I don't have to listen to this nonsense. Dr. Gori, the coroner who examined the body, has confirmed the possibility. She's acknowledged there are signs that the steps may have been taken to disguise the true time of death. The onset of the body's decomposition could have been delayed by storing it in a refrigerator. Counsel, as I remember explaining yesterday, refrigerators of the requisite size are few and far between. Yes, I'm sure they are. But one place they're certainly found is on large ocean liners. Such ships are equipped with electrically refrigerated cold rooms to keep food fresh on their long sea voyages. And the SS Gruz is no exception. Professor Mikotoba told me about it only yesterday. Well, Judge Jigoku? However much you prolong this debate, you can't eliminate the truth. All the evidence points to you being the killer. Well, this is all very heartening. I can see that it was a wise move, letting Asogi and you embark on this study tour. What are you talking about now? Logical reasoning, of course. All court proceedings will be built on logical reasoning in the new century. And I can see that you've both laid firm foundations for that already. Judge Jigoku, please, stop diverting attention from the issue at hand. Defense has made an accusation against you. How do you respond? Respond? There's really no need for me to respond, is there? Why ever not? Because before you can even begin to answer the question of when the victim was killed, you must first establish one key fact. Where was the victim killed? It's quite logical. The actual scene of the crime. The prosecution's stance is unaltered. The killing took place on Fresno Street when the gunshot was heard. As the accused, Barak Van Ziek shot the victim at point-blank range. Since no tangible evidence exists to disprove the prosecution's claim at this time, the defense's deductions amount to little more than an elaborate fairy tale. I'm afraid that's how the logical reasoning the British are known for really works, young stripling. Stop calling me a chicken strip. The victim was shot in that little room on Fresno Street and died instantly. I'm afraid it's the prosecution's claim that's the only fairy tale here. How can you say that? Quite simply, because that claim clearly contradicts a certain piece of evidence in our possession. Is it gonna be the autopsy report? Very tantalizing, counsel. I think you'd better explain yourself to the court, don't you? The prosecution claims that Inspector Gregson died instantly when he was shot at the scene on Fresno Street. But this evidence clearly contradicts that claim. The autopsy report, right? Well, I'm running low on health, so I might as well save. It's the autopsy report, right? The Japanese really are a curious breed. To pre-offer an argument with such conviction, only to present such nonsensical evidence. Oh, fuck. Perhaps my Japanese friend's inexplicable thinking is why people talk of the mystique of the East. In case you hadn't noticed, I'm not the only Japanese around here. Do you even have a mirror? It's like the third time he said that. That's funny. Well, shite. Was the victim killed on the room on Fresno Street, or was he moved there after his death? What about the trunk? Is it the trunk, maybe? Because the trunk had blood on it. And the blood looks pretty dry to me. Are you going to try again, or can't you hold your hand steady enough to point it out? Okay, I'm gonna try the trunk, because the trunk is also, you know, it also has blood on it, so there's that.
Take that!
No? It's not the trunk either? Well, fuck. Oh, actually, I want to see what the game over looks like. We've wasted enough time. It's clear to me that any further discussion of this case will be fruitless. Barak Van Zeeks, I would like to think that, however misguided, you acted out of a sense of justice nonetheless. Though it pains me to have reached this conclusion. No, wait, my lord. Oh, wow. That's kind of cool, actually. In accordance with the findings of this court, I hereby pronounce the defendant Barak Van Zeeks. That concludes business. Court is adjourned. Okay. Let's try that again. Why is it default to no? The fuck? Alright. I mean, it doesn't really matter. Alright. Let's see. Oh yeah, it could be the hair piece, actually. Maybe? Actually, no, it wouldn't be the hair piece, would it? So if it's not the autopsy report, is it the firecracker? Could be the firecracker. Is it the photograph, maybe?
Take that!
A photograph of the victim in the very location you claim he wasn't killed? Yes, but the point is, the posture of the body itself. If Inspector Gregson had been shot there in that room, it's out of the question that his body would have been curled up in a bowl like that. Oh, is that what we're going with? I'm sorry to disappoint you, but your logic is flawed. He could easily have adopted that fetal position due to the pain of the shot, which subsequently proved fatal.
Objection!
I'm sorry to disappoint you, Judge Jigoku, but it's your logic that's flawed. What? According to this autopsy report, the victim died instantly. He would have felt no pain, much less have been able to draw himself into that position. Oh, that's what it is. Oh. Which begs the question of why the victim's body was curled up that way. Yeah, I mean, there's no other reasoning besides the fact that, you know, he was put inside the trunk and you had to, like, squish him down and make him fit in there. Though the answer should be abundantly clear by now.
You're suggesting?
The inspector's body took on that posture ahead of time on arrival in Fresno Street, before it was coldly turned out on the floor, from the inside of a large travel trunk.
No!
You're quite right. The shape of the body, it looks exactly as if it had been kept in a confined space. Doesn't really explain the presence of the red hairpiece, though, does it? Judge Jigoku, present your trunk for examination. I believe it's very possible that it'll contain traces of the victim's blood.
Oh!
Oh shit, he's mad.
Present my trunk. I refuse.
What? On what grounds?
I'm the Minister of Foreign Affairs from the Empire of Japan. I shouldn't have to put up with this treatment just because of some stripling's baseless accusations.
In other words, Judge Jigoku, there is blood on your trunk.
I decline to answer that. As the Minister of Foreign Affairs, I have privileges that allow me to...
At this moment, you're not a government minister. You're a witness in a trial of Britain's highest court. I don't care who you are, what your status outside this courtroom might be. You will not withhold information. Nothing is more important than the truth.
Order in the court. Well, Mr. Jigoku, what's it to be? You can't be serious. You did it? Have you no shame at all, Kazuma Sogi?
What?
Very well. I admit it. I did bring the inspector's body into the country. Inside my trunk, exactly as postulated by the defense.
What?
You... Dear God, outrageous!
So it was you. You admitted to inspect...
No. I admit to nothing more than what I've said. Of killing the man, I certainly have no recollection. What on earth is that cryptic statement supposed to mean? I merely disposed of the inspector's body, which was left in my cabin, in order to avoid unwanted attention. As the judicial assistant over there pointed out, I had no chance to throw it into the ocean. So I decided my only option was to bring it to Britain with me and dispose of it somewhere else.
You can't still deny it. If you didn't do it, then who on earth did kill the man?
As you know, there was one other person in my cabin that night. He had the opportunity. And moreover, he'd already accepted a mission to take the inspector's life.
Oh.
That's right. Who else could it have been? It was you, Kazuma Sogi.
Oh shit, he's pissed.
You...
Everybody's pissed.
I never thought you'd stoop to this, Seishiro Jigoku. You've taken the words straight out of my mouth, Prosecutor Kazuma Sogi. You thought by leaving the body in my cabin you could pin the crime on me, did you? Well, the prosecution counsel's already submitted to visiting the witness's cabin on the night in question. Yes, on an assassination mission, no less.
You wouldn't.
So, what do you make of that, young stripling? You've heard my testimony now, and that's all I have to say on that matter. I'll admit to nothing more.
I don't believe this.
Counsel for the defense. What is your position now? The court awaits your response to the witness's assertion. The assertion that on the night in question, the victim's assailant was in fact Mr. Kazuma Sogi.
This isn't the dead end it seems to be. The answer's right in front of me. It comes down to Jigoku or Kazuma. Both of them had the opportunity to kill Gregson, but Only one of them did it. And I'm just a step away from proving who. Very well. The defense is ready to respond to the assertion put forward by Judge Jigoku. The idea that the victim's murder could have been committed by Prosecutor Sogi is... possible? Because of the sword in the trunk? Unless he's gonna back down. Well, it is possible, my lord. What? How could you... Do you think I want to believe it? But the fact is, I can't say with complete certainty what actually happened, because I wasn't there.
You disappoint me, Ryunosuke.
If I may, Mr. Naruhodo, I think perhaps that's why we form opinions based on evidence. Ah, so true. And actually, we have evidence that can settle this argument conclusively. My lord, the defense would like to present evidence in support of...
Before you plow on feigning ignorance of what just occurred, Counsel, you must be penalized for that short but embarrassing argument. What the fuck, bro?
I really thought I could just brush past it if I was quick enough. Never mind the penalty, Mr. Naruhodo. The truth is all that matters. Judge Jigoku, let me remind you of something you said only a few minutes ago. You claim that logical reasoning is the future of the judicial process.
It is, no question.
Well, logic reasoning can prove something here. Namely, that it would have been impossible for Prosecutor Sogi to commit the crime.
What?
Oh, I guess I was supposed to say it's impossible then.
The court will only accept an argument that's supported by compelling evidence. So present what you have, Counsel. What proof is there that allegedly demonstrates the impossibility?
Oh, actually, wait, maybe I still need to present the sword. Because the sword doesn't have blood on it.
Take that!
You're making the evidence weep here, Ryunosuke Naruhodo.
Sorry?
Every piece of evidence has a role to play in arriving at the truth. They're not playthings you can toss around the courtroom for entertainment.
Oh. Okay, it's not the sword? You're about to make me weep, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh no, I can't upset Suzuto-san, or I'll end up being upset too. We know a member of the crew was on sentry duty outside the first-class cabin nearly all the time, so as long as the guard was there, it would have been impossible to fire a shot without it being heard. That very much narrows down when the crime could have been committed. Wait, am I supposed to present the drill again? It's not the drill, is it? Is it the drill? It can't be, right? Oh, it is. This itinerary for crew members of the SS Grooves, my lord. This is conclusive proof. Wow, it is the drill again.
An itinerary? How does that prove anything?
Judge Jigoku, the moment you acknowledge that you found the victim's body in your cabin, I wasn't expecting to present the frickin', like, drill 2 times. This itinerary suddenly becomes much more significant.
What? Why?
On the night in question, as always, a crewman sentry was on guard outside your cabin door. As long as he was there, nobody could have fired a shot inside the cabin.
Absolutely, because it's inconceivable that the guard wouldn't have heard it and come to investigate.
So that tells us that the crime must have taken place when the guard was elsewhere. And that narrows it down to the 20 minutes just after 10 o'clock as indicated on the itinerary.
Yes, I see no flaw in your reasoning so far.
But the crucial point is this. When the evacuation drill took place, the steamship had already put to sea from the port of Dunkirk.
Ugh.
Now, clearly the murder could have only been committed by somebody who was aboard the vessel at the time. But Prosecutor Sogi stated in yesterday's proceedings... Oh. So he has an alibi then. That's good. Which I'm sure the court will agree is conclusive proof. That Kazuma Sogi couldn't possibly have carried out the killing.
Oh! No, absolutely not. I don't accept that at all.
What do you mean?
The boy is just saying this to exonerate himself. We can't trust that he really disembarked the vessel. Obviously, after he left my cabin, he hid himself somewhere nearby on the ship. Just waiting for his chance to come back and finish.
No, that's out of the question. Isn't it, Cosmo?
As the fence rightly recalls, I disembarked the vessel and spent the night in a boarding house in Dunkirk.
And as I said yesterday, I signed my name in the accommodations register book. They're all extremely easy to verify, and undeniable proof.
No,
There's no escape this time. You can forget that you're a judge of a government minister. It's time you gave the court an honest answer as a common man. Oh shit, he's trembling. You killed Inspector Tobias Gregson and transported his corpse back to Britain. Then you dumped the body in the room on Fresno Street and made it look as if the murder had happened there. Oh, the 720p, or no, what is it called? The 720 degree point. That's what really happened, isn't it, Seishiro Jigoku?
it was that damn trial 10 years ago. That's when all this began. Looking back now, my fate was decided that day. I was doomed already.
Is he gonna fucking lift up the stand? Oh shit, he fucking cut through the stand. What the fuck?
It's over! My life is over!
Okay, he kinda did pick up the stand. Sort of.
A British assassin to eliminate a professor in Japan. A Japanese assassin to eliminate a detective in Britain. Both assassins will use diplomatic immunity to evade conviction and return safely to their homelands.
Oh man, it's so weird seeing this without the frickin' stand now.
The assassin exchange request arrived from Britain about 1 year ago. Though it was hardly a request, it was a demand.
And for that, you decided to recruit Mr. Sogi.
But things didn't go according to plan.
Wait, is that Renosuke talking? But things didn't go according to plan. Your chosen assassin never made it to Britain, and you found yourself unable to dispatch a replacement, because I was already on my way to Britain at that time in Cosmos Place.
And that left me with only one option for carrying out my obligation. To eliminate the mark myself, personally. Of course, there was but a single opportunity for me to do that.
The International Forensic Science Symposium, I presume.
That's right. I decided it would be safest to carry out the plan before my arrival in Britain. So I enlisted the help of my British counterpart, and made arrangements for a pretext that would take the inspector to Dunkirk. To lure the man in, he was given a sham mission by the Reaper.
What? The Reaper?
But there's only one person who could have done that. The mastermind of the entire operation. The Reaper himself.
Ah. So, that means that the assassin exchange was... It was all planned by the Reaper?
I'm not at liberty to say anything about my British counterpart. Anyway, the inspector accepted the Reaper's mission, and dutifully infiltrated my cabin on the steamship. But it was all a trap designed to lead him to France, and his own death.
Oh, how awful.
It was past 9 o'clock when I returned to my cabin from the dining hall that evening. I didn't give him time to attack me. I choked him until he lost consciousness. But there was a guard just outside the door, so I left it at that for the time being. Even the slightest noise might have aroused suspicion, so I bided my time, waiting.
For the 20 minutes after 10 o'clock? I had intended to finish him by strangulation, but moments before I had the chance, he suddenly came round and went for me in a reckless move. I had received the British-issue gun 16 years earlier, being a member of the judiciary as a visiting student. I never imagined I'd have to use it for something like that. So the revolver belongs to you, does it? Then the victim was killed inside your cabin on the SS Grooves. Which begs the question of why you arranged for his body to be discovered in the room on Fresno Street. The young judicial assistant over there has already answered that question. There was no way I could take the body up on deck to throw it over the side. That's precisely where all the crewmen were gathered for the evacuation drill. So before the first-class cabin sentries returned, I took the corpse to the refrigeration room. And then arriving on Dover, you concealed the body in your trunk in order to smuggle it past the border police. I knew I needed to take steps if the police were to be convinced when the body was found in London. In that case, you must have known. You must have had intimate details of Inspector Gregson's intended schedule. Yes, my British counterpart sent me everything I needed to know. The inspector was due at Fresno Street at 5 o'clock that afternoon, in order to meet a man by the name of Hugh Boone, from whom he would take back his police identification. Ah! I decided that man would be the perfect person to set up as the culprit. So I took a hackney carriage over there with the body still in my trunk. That must have been just after we took this photograph of you at the hotel then. Yeah. Yes. I wasn't expecting a welcoming committee. I was more than a little nervous. On Fresno Street, I spotted a young girl selling firecrackers. Miss Venus, of course. I conceived of the candle trick there and then. So I donned a simple disguise and approached the girl to buy enough firecrackers to replicate a gunshot. What sort of disguise? For some reason, the inspector had a bright red hairpiece in his own traveling case. So I put that on, although I suspect I drew more attention to myself in that than I would have otherwise. The hairpiece we had at the scene. The inspector had it ready for the Red-Headed League investigation. I only arrived at the room around 4:45. So I quickly placed the body on the floor, moved the notice board, and set up my little candle trick. Wow, can I just point out how frickin' great this music is? I arranged it so the firecrackers would go off with a bang around 15 minutes later. So that Mr. Boone, who was due to arrive at 5, would walk straight into a trap. Except, at the last moment, I made a careless blunder. What was that? I imagine it was the bag of fish and chips. Ah. I didn't notice that it had fallen out of his overcoat pocket when I moved the body to a refrigerator room. I put it back into his pocket the following morning, but... well, it seems the warmth of the heated cabin had accelerated the decay of the fish. Anyway, that's everything. All the sordid details of what I did. Damn. God, it's so weird. There's no stand there now. They're not going to be able to replace it. I've heard enough. We've arrived at the truth about the murder of one of the country's most capable and respected police inspectors. The witness will be tried in the coming days. For a crime of such a vile nature, you can expect the most severe penalty. An exchange of assassins. What a foolhardy idea. Mr. Jigoku, one last detail. Who was your counterpart in Britain? Who is the mastermind behind the assassin exchange? Nothing you say now, Matt, can make matters any worse for you. Just tell us.
Enough! I've already told you that I cannot say. Even though as things stand, you may very well never set foot in your homeland again. What are you waiting for? Can't we get this over with now? It's finished. All of it. I'm finished. Then, in the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I now pronounce the findings of this court. The man before us has admitted to the willful murder of Tobias Gregson.
Wait, what?
Seishiro Jigoku, it is the opinion of this court that you should be found guilty. And may I remind all of those present of the strict confidentiality demanded by this closed court.
Well, that's weird. Like, we didn't get a not guilty. We just got a you're guilty. But instead of Van Zeke's being guilty, he's the guilty one. That's really weird. How often does that happen?
Moments ago, Mr. Jigoku signed a written confession, admitting to the murder of Inspector Gregson and the subsequent conveyance of the body. In short, the defendant's innocence has therefore been established beyond doubt.
Oh, wonderful. Well done, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, thank you. I know this isn't the end yet. There's still another trial. Is something wrong? I'm just a little troubled by his silence.
The true identity of the Reaper of the Bailey in this extraordinary assassin exchange. We do remain in the dark about these mysteries, however. Insofar as the indictment brought against the defendant in this trial, we have reached a conclusion. I have every intention of pursuing both mysteries. As a prosecutor. As you wish. Now, for the formal adjudication. I hereby declare the defendant Barak Van Zeeks.
Objection!
Oh shit. Let's go. Cosmo with the objection.
The prosecution calls for the adjudication to be deferred. Counsel? The accused's innocence hasn't been fully established at all, and therefore it would be wrong to deliver a verdict at this time. That is the prosecution's unwavering position. Oh, let's go, his theme song!
What? But Judge Jigoku's already confessed.
Nevertheless, Barak Van Zeeks has committed crimes for which he must be punished. Well, it would appear you have information the court needs to hear, Prosecutor Sogi. Certainly, the murder of Inspector Gregson was actually carried out by Seishiro Jigoku, but it's clear from the witness's testimony that he was coerced into complying with the plot, into this sick, merciless assassin exchange.
That may be true, but...
So what I want to know is, who coerced Jigoku? Who was pulling the strings? The victim went to France having been ordered on a mission for the Reaper, only to be murdered. In other words, the mastermind behind the assassin exchange is someone in a position to give such an order. As we had already established, the Reaper himself. Well, certainly, that would appear to follow. The prosecution hereby formally accuses the man in the dock, Barak Van Zeeks, of being the Reaper of the Bailey, and furthermore, I'm going to prove his guilt beyond all reasonable doubt.
What? Oh shit, that's not exactly the answer I was hoping for.
Order, order. the Reaper of the Bailey is a long-standing mystery, Council. Are you suggesting you have some new information with to build a case?
Scotland Yard's already investigated Lord Van Zieks very thoroughly in that regard, and they found no evidence whatsoever to substantiate the claim that he's the Reaper.
Perhaps, but circumstances have now changed.
What do you mean?
It's already been established that the Assassin Exchange was negotiated with Jigoku by the Reaper himself. Which means we now have a new line of questioning by which to identify definitively the man's identity. That is the prosecution's intention here.
I must say, I'm surprised by quite how tenaciously you appear to want to besmirch my name.
You are guilty of an unforgivable crime, Lord Van Zieks. And I will bring you to justice for it, whatever it takes.
That explains Cosmo's silence before. He has stopped at nothing to finish what Lord Van Zieks unwittingly started 10 years ago.
Very well. Whilst it's extremely irregular, I will on this occasion grant the prosecution further opportunity for witness testimony. The defendant will disclose any and all involvement he had with his Reaper, the Reaper and the Assassin Exchange. I thank you, my lord, for guiding the court so wisely. I hereby declare this court to be in a session for supplementary hearing.
Oh, he's got to relight the torches again.
Oh, there's the leg again!
Pray, turn a blind eye to the discourtesy as I verify this vile and unremitting accusation hasn't soured the contents of my hollowed chalice.
Lord Van Zieks!
I first had to suffer the pseudonym of the Reaper 10 years ago now, and ever since that time I've endured the weight of an implied guilt that's gone with it. So I'll welcome the chance to testify now, and crush those allegations once and for all.
Good. Then let justice decide, Lord Van Zieks. The prosecution seeks to begin building its case by calling the accused to the stand as the primary witness, in order that he may answer the accusation brought by the prosecution that he is the Reaper of the Bailey. And what says the defense?
Putting the defendant in the witness stand can be extremely dangerous, and Cosmo-san was so emotional at the moment that he's not thinking logically. You're right that he's not himself, but I knew it would be like this, and I came here to determined to face him through whatever might arise, as a lawyer and his friend. And then that's what we must do. The defense has no objection, my lord.
Very well. Defendant, you will take this witness stand and give formal testimony on the subject of your involvement with the Reaper and the Assassin Exchange.
Wait, you know what I just realized? When did the fucking, defense stand get back? Or when did the witness stand return? Did they really have, just a spare one in, the office or something?
As you wish, my lord.
When the hell did they replace the witness stand? I didn't even notice that. I'm just now noticing there's a new one all of a sudden. The Reaper and the Assassin Exchange.
I've never taken the life of another, nor have I instructed on others to kill. I've been investigating the truth behind the Reaper for years, and I was aware of Gregson's involvement. That's the reason why I went to Fresno Streets that day, and how I came to discover the body. The point is, no common thread exists between myself, Gregson, and Dr. Watson. Clearly, therefore, there's no reason to suspect me of being behind the Assassin Exchange.
I find it interesting it was playing just the standard cross-examination theme. It wasn't even playing the faster one. Man, surprisingly, it hasn't even been that long yet. It's only been 50 minutes.
So you deny all accusations by the prosecution? Both that you and the Reaper of the Bailey, and that you the mastermind of the Assassin Exchange? I acknowledge that the public at large believe me to be the Reaper. However, that's a fallacy, which I alone am in a position to forswear. Naturally, the prosecution believes the testimony just given by the accused to be untrue. Ryunosuke Naruhodo.
Yes?
Let me ask you, why are you here? What really brings you to this courtroom?
A desire to uncover the truth.
Even if the truth proves your client to be guilty?
From all my experiences in this courtroom, I've come to realize something. The truth can't be hidden. Sooner or later, it will come out. So it's always my intention to work with my client in pursuit of the truth.
I want you to remember what you just said. Enough dilatory chatter. Counsel for the defense, proceed to cross-examine the witness.
Yes, my lord. I know exactly what you're thinking, Kazuma. I know you're just waiting to point it out. The contradiction you're convinced lies somewhere within this man's testimony. Whoosh.
Hold it!
So you're not what the general public refer to as the infamous Reaper of the Bailey.
Exactly. Don't imagine for a moment that the court will be satisfied with a one-word answer on this. I realize that.
If you're intending to comment on every sentence, this could take a while, Kazuma. Didn't you find it disturbing, though? That one by one, defendants who'd been acquitted after your unsuccessful prosecutions were killed?
Let me answer that question by posing another. If one by one defendants who've been acquitted after your successful defense were killed, would you find that disturbing?
Disturbing? I couldn't possibly say how that would make me feel with a one-word answer like that.
Exactly.
Well, that told me.
But even though I'm not the Reaper, that doesn't mean I ignored all the hearsay.
Ace Attorney 22, yes. Yes, chat member.
Hold it!
You say for years. How long exactly?
Since the very first time the Reaper's influence was felt in this courtroom. 10 years ago now.
And your investigations led you somehow to Inspector Gregson, you're saying?
I didn't want to believe it. He was a personal acquaintance. We've worked on cases together in the past.
A friend, even? I mean, we have proof of that.
It felt like a betrayal, but I demanded permission to search his office at the yard without his knowledge.
Which is when you found his secret notebook, is it?
It's when I first learned of the location he'd noted only as Gru's, and the appointment at 5 PM on the 31st. So I didn't know the significance of those details at the time.
So now we're at a number of the matter.
As it turns out, the significance for me personally was very unfortunate.
Once again, we just have 5 statements. It's always 5 statements, I don't know why. But why did you go to that specific location?
I thought that if it was the Reaper's headquarters, then by turning up there at 5 o'clock I would catch whoever was red-handed. Sadly, all that was waiting me was the inspector's corpse.
Yes, even though it wasn't designed for you, you walked straight into the trap set by Jigoku.
Exactly. Jigoku had intended to implicate Hugh Boone, but unhappily for me, I arrived at the scene first. Heh, a ridiculously careless blunder.
Moved on to just throwing insults around, I see then, Kazuma.
Think what you will, it doesn't change the truth.
Well, I mean, maybe we'll get something out of pressing him.
Hold it!
There's a link between you and Gregson, though.
Of course, we were close acquaintances. We have worked on numerous cases together. I consider the man to be a mentor of sorts. He taught me a number of important lessons.
He did? Such as what? How to eat fish and chips.
Where to buy good fish and chips.
I fucking knew it. I fucking knew it. Well, that was convincing.
Dr. Watson was also a coroner, of course, but that was a time in the past. And in any case, I understand it was several years ago now that he was invited to work at the Japanese university.
That's right. He was visiting professor at the Imperial Yume University in Tokyo.
It should be unambiguously clear then that no link exists between myself and him. In other words, I had no motive for sending some assassin across the seas to kill the man.
Sounds plausible enough, and I want to believe it. But something about this just doesn't quite sit right with me. Well, I mean, there's only one other statement to press before I have to start coming up with shit.
Hold it!
Certainly, as it stands, there's no evidence to suggest that you concocted the scheme.
Objection!
Oh, okay, Cosmo has to object to that, apparently.
But as it stands, we only have the accused's insistence of his innocence.
Sorry?
Perhaps there's some reason that would explain why he masterminded the assassin exchange. And if a reason could be established later in these proceedings, then the accused's claim in this testimony that he wasn't involved would amount to perjury.
Well, yes, that's true, but... Clearly, Kazuma-sama intends to identify a reason needed to make his case. So if we don't identify something first, he'll gain the advantage. This could be dangerous. I also like to live dangerously. A convincing testimony by Lord Van Zeeks. Certainly, with no apparent connection between the three men, there's no way to establish a motive. The testimony seems unassailable as far as I can see. Oh dear me, what a bleak expression. I agree. There doesn't appear to be any particular link between them, at first glance. Yeah, what about the fucking, the paper, the 4 names? But with the inclusion of one other person... I must be overthinking it, surely. Another person, Mr. Naruhodo? I need to think back over all the information we've gleaned so far. Alright, and I'll review my notes about the case and all the evidence in the court record. Could it be that Lord Van Zeeks has something to hide after all? There's no common thread that exists between myself, Gregson, and Dr. Watson. It wouldn't be this photograph, would it? You know what? I'm gonna try it.
Objection!
Fuck, okay, it's not it. That's not it. It could also be the names, I don't know. I'm gonna try the names. It's the telegram, right? Yeah.
Objection!
No, that's not it either? Well, shit. Well, back down to 1 life again. Yeah, sure, let's save over this. It's not like these save files even matter anymore, because I've already freaking saved over my last one. Crazy to think, this was in March of 2023 though, right? Now we're on April 7th of 2025, so man, like really it was just like 2 years ago that I played this game. Is there any other thread? The notice board, maybe? Could be the notice board. It's not the Asogi papers. You know what? Let me try the notice board.
Objection!
Fuck. Oh, well. Well, there I go. I'm dead now.
You're dead again. You suck ass at this game, Council.
Alright. Well, let me look at the other statements. You were unaware of Gregson's involvement, he says. Well, maybe I present the, maybe this is where I present the notice board.
Objection!
No? Damn, man, I'm not doing very good. Well, because we're also trying to prove, like, how does Van Zieks have a relation with Gregson and Dr. Watson, right? So can we prove that at all? Maybe the gun? Is it the gun? It's not the gun, is it? I almost want to press the gun and see.
Objection!
No. I'm just at this point I'm just guessing. Because I don't fucking know. It's really funny how, like, there's like a sound effect that plays just as I'm leaving. Obviously it's not this. Well, we don't need the evacuation drill anymore, do we? Clint's autopsy report. Wait, wait, Watson's name is here. Maybe it's this. Okay, let me try this.
Objection!
There we go, I found it. I forgot that frickin' Watson was the coroner, dude.
What is this? An autopsy report? Wait, this is 10 years old, from the autopsy of Lord Clint Van Zieks. What? My brother's autopsy report? I'm pleased to see the defense doesn't intend to run from the undeniable truth.
Man, I completely forgot about the fucking autopsy report, damn.
Order in court. What reason do you have for presenting a 10-year-old autopsy report here, counsel?
And I'm out of tea now. Well, that's very sad. No more tea for me, I guess, until tomorrow. This, the autopsy report from the professor's final victim, is an undelible? That's a new word. I've never heard of that one. An undelible link between Inspector Gregson, Dr. Watson, and the defendant.
Not so the cursed name again, the professor.
I've personally researched all the court records relating to that case. I know that at the time, autopsy was considered sacrilege in the victim's souls. And for a member of the aristocracy like Lord Clint Van Zieks, it was unthinkable. Well, yeah, we also know that Gregson, like, demanded he do it. Yeah, it says right there. But someone implored the powers that be allowed the autopsy to go ahead. Inspector Gregson. He declared that he was certain he would obtain conclusive proof from the procedure. And it was Dr. Watson who conducted the autopsy. His signature is clearly visible on the document.
As promised by Gregson, the autopsy did indeed produce evidence. Evidence that conclusively proved Genshin Asogi was guilty of the murders. In my brother's dying moments, he mustered all his remaining strength to leave that vital clue behind. Indeed, that was the key to indicting the professor for his crimes, and that conclusive evidence that convicted him. It enabled Lord Van Zieks here to avenge his brother's senseless death with a marvelous victory in court. A marvelous victory, was it? I wonder if that's really true. What? Could the same be said if it turned out that the key piece of evidence in question was in fact fabricated? If the inspector, the coroner, and the prosecutor all colluded together to cast an innocent Japanese man as a mass murderer and send him to his death. That's outrageous. And now, 10 years later, for some reason the secret's been threatened and needs protecting. Which is why the inspector and the coroner had to be silenced, isn't it? By someone in power in Japan and in Britain,
using the 2 killers recruited for the assassin exchange.
That's a pretty bold claim.
Order at once! 10 years ago, my father was convicted in this very courtroom as a mass murderer, to be sentenced to death. But it was all a sham, and I swore to myself that I'd prove it, which is why I had to come to Britain, whatever the cost. You'll have to forgive me if I feel compelled to toast this vengeful Nipponese's tenacity of purpose here. However, he who fails to quash his emotions in the courtroom has failed as a lawyer.
Come on, Cosmo, you know this won't wash. You're claiming your father was misrepresented in a trial that took place a whole decade ago. You must see that without evidence. That's nothing more than a wild accusation.
As it happens, I have evidence. I have the receipts.
What?
As the court has heard, I crossed the channel to France with Gregson on the 31st. I went with him on the pretext of being the assassin recruited to kill Seishiro Jigoku. But my true intentions were to make the inspector tell me the truth. What truth? The truth about the evidence, and he acknowledged what I'd already deduced. There's a closely guarded secret about what went on in that autopsy 10 years ago. What? A secret? I know nothing of any secret. While we waited for my supposed mark in Jigoku's cabin, I drew my clan's illustrious sword Karama before the inspector's eyes. He very quickly understood what my true motive was. Right, I see. You're that Asogi's young lad, are you? And what, you're gonna cut me down with that thing, is that it? That will very much depend on the answers you give to my questions. I want to know what really happened 10 years ago. The truth, that's all. Before to get into it, let me make one thing clear. I still believe your father was the professor, there's no doubt in my mind. But unfortunately back then, we didn't have the evidence we needed to make the crime stick. So, you admit it then. The evidence used in my father's trial was fabricated. It was for the good of the country. Anyway, I was just following orders. Orders? What exactly did you do? Speak. I'm not saying another word. Even if your life depends on it? That's right. Even then.
So that's when the tip of the sword broke. Oh, Cosmo-sama.
If the results of Clint Van Zeek's autopsy were fabricated, then the investigating officer Gregson and the lead coroner Watson must have known about it. And they can only have been ordered to pervert the course of justice in that way by one man. The man leading the case for the prosecution, Barak Van Zeeks.
Oh, great. We're fucking tying it back to those Van Zeeks again?
In other words, the defendant did have cause to organize the exchange of assassins. Exactly, and as was established earlier, it has to have been the Reaper himself who liaised with Jigoku in Japan to arrange the exchange.
That's another weird word.
So it follows that Reaper's true identity can only be that of the man who stands accused in this courtroom today, Barak Van Zeeks.
Well, shit, that's not good. Bro, sit your ass back down.
Objection!
Kazuma Sogi. What? What you just told the court? Are you absolutely certain of your facts? Did Gregson really fabricate evidence for that trial 10 years ago? I heard it with my own ears. His shameful admission.
In that case, I know. The name of the Reaper.
What?
Lord Van Zieks?
I gave no such orders. I know that for certain. Which narrows down the remaining possibilities to one.
If Lord Van Zieks isn't the one behind all this, then yes, there is only one other person who could have done something like that. I believe I know who it is, too.
You...
I just had a feeling this name was going to come up. The true identity of the infamous Reaper of the Bailey is... Oh god, here we go! Oh shit. Liaised? Eased? What? It's a weird word, man. It's still a weird word. Alright, guys. The time has come, and so have I. I already know who to present, because, it's pretty obvious at this point.
Take that!
The only person who could have arranged the assassin exchange and manipulated the autopsy results is the Lord Chief Justice himself, Lord Mael Strongheart.
What? You Lord Strongheart?
Yes, it's true that 10 years ago, the defendant handled the prosecution of the professor in court. But he only took over the case after his brother, Lord Clint Van Zieks, had been killed.
I can only assume that this is the most inappropriate joke in British judicial history.
Well, Lord Van Zieks...
10 years ago, I was very new to my profession. But I had a burning desire to avenge my brother's death, so I pleaded for control of the case. The investigation to that point, the supplication of the lords to allow my brother's corpse to be examined. All the evidence I was given, the autopsy reports, it all came from you. I've spent my life since then believing I was in your debt for the way you stood aside and let me handle the trial. But I see now. I was very much mistaken.
He was a hugely influential force that caused the inspector and the coroner to break the law 10 years ago. And that same force was still felt a decade later on the other side of the world by Seishiro Jigoku. Lord Strongheart, everything falls into place when you recognize that you are the Reaper of the Bailey. He's gonna keep quiet about this now that he's been indicted. Yeah, let's go the fucking leg!
The court awaits your response, my lord. This may very well go down in British judicial history, but I assure you, it is no joke. Consider this a formal accusal by the defense. It doesn't warrant a response.
Oh fuck, he's giving me the same treatment that Jigoku did earlier, damn it.
A formal accusal? Don't be absurd. The defense's claims are utter nonsense, a wild fantasy at best.
You're not going to defend yourself.
You claim there was some wrongdoing with Lord Clint Van Zieks' autopsy? That's utterly untrue.
Objection!
But I heard it from Gregson's own lips. He admitted to it. And where's your evidence? What? Gregson's dead now. Unless you were thinking of summoning a ghost to the stand.
Oh yeah, sorry, that wouldn't be until Ace Attorney 1.
You mean to say... I forget how the system works in your little backwater country. But in the courts of the British Empire, without evidence there's no case.
Oh shit.
I have no intention of entertaining some wild fantasy that can't possibly substantiate by anyone or anything. Ugh! Order in court. Following Inspector Gregson's murder, and in the light of Dr. Watson's death as well, there's really no one left who could testify about the events 10 years ago, is there?
So that was the real purpose of the assassin exchange. Well, we could have fans, we could have frickin' Strongheart testify. I don't know.
This court has no business raking over the coals of a case that was concluded a decade ago. The accusal brought by the prosecution and defense is categorically denied. I take it there are no objections.
No objections, I presume.
Kazuma, he's more or less waited his whole life for this moment. Is there really nothing else we can do now? Is there no other avenue we can go down in pursuit of the truth of what happened all those years ago? If only there was someone who could testify about Clint Van Zeek's autopsy.
Shit. Who do we have? Mikitoba could testify. Yes, there's somebody. There's someone.
He's gone to extraordinary lengths to cover his tracks, even so far as dispatching an assassin all the way to Tran to ensure Dr. Watson's silence. And Dr. Scythe won't say anything against Strongheart. But there's still one ray of hope.
I'm gonna try it. I don't know if this is it, but I'm gonna try it.
Actually, there is one person. One person who could still testify about that autopsy.
Don't be ridiculous. There's no one left.
Who, Ryunosuke? Who? Tell me.
Kazuma.
Please, this trial can't end. Not yet.
I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing it for the truth. The person the defense would like to call to the stand to testify at the autopsy of Lord Van Zeek's... Is it Mikitoba?
Take that!
Heaven help us, another Japanese?
An expert in forensic medicine, my lord. Professor Yuji Mikitoba, 16 years ago. He came to London with Seishiro Jigoku and Genshin Asogi as a visiting student.
And what could his testimony possibly tell us?
Professor Mikitoba was the primary assistant during the autopsy in question. He was also the person who actually penned the report.
Yeah, there we go.
Incorrect. The autopsy was carried out by the coroner, Dr. Watson. The report carries his signature.
It was the primary assistant's duty to keep a written record of the coroner's work during the procedure. In actual fact, the coroner merely read over the report at the end and signed it. In other words, Professor Mikitoba witnessed the entire autopsy from start to finish. The defense demands that Professor Mikitoba be summoned as a witness as a matter of urgency. Wow, that's so cool. We get to testify him? Whatever really happened in that autopsy laboratory 10 years ago is something only he can tell us.
The defense's demand is denied.
What? Well, Professor Mikitoba's in London at this very moment. We could summon him to the stand in minutes. No, of course he's not going to agree to it. Strongheart has no intention of summoning anyone he knows. He's too concerned about protecting himself.
Prosecutor Sogi, let me refresh your memory as you seem to have forgotten the prosecution's stance. Only minutes ago, you accused the defendant of being the Reaper and of masterminding the assassin exchange.
I did, yes.
So present your evidence for those claims, and make your case complete.
At this time, I don't have the requisite evidence, but that's exactly why we need witness testimony.
The professor case is closed. There are no clues in the distant past that will bolster your argument today. I'm afraid to say, Prosecutor Sogi, that you would appear to be possessed by the spirit of your late homicidal father.
Damn, that's gotta hurt.
Now, as I stated earlier, this court has already reached a conclusion with respect to the matter at hand. Inspector Gregson was murdered by Japanese Supreme Court Judge Seishiro Jigoku. As for any hidden circumstance that may exist, they will be investigated in due course by the proper authorities.
Objection!
but we all know what will happen. That'll just give the mastermind of the whole venture time to cover his tracks again.
By which you mean me? Your punishment for this contemptible behavior will be decided at a later date. As for you, Prosecutor Sogi, you will be remanded following these proceedings. Willingly, I trust, since you gave your word. This futile game of revenge is over, young Master Sogi.
Oh no. Damn. Oh no. Dang, he's not taking that very well.
That will be all. I hereby declare this trial to be over,
Is it Migatoba? Is it Sholmes? It's Sholmes, let's fucking go!
Mr. Sholmes.
This is no place for amateur detection, Mr. Sholmes. May I remind you these proceedings are closed to the general public. You will leave the courtroom at once.
Mr. Sholmes was instrumental in the apprehension of Seishiro Jigoku before he fled from Europe. The court should hear what he has to say.
Lord Miles Strongheart, it's imperative that you refrain from bringing this trial to the end at this stage. Is it really? And why would that be? You need only recall your own words from the opening of this trial to answer that question, if I may. We will stop at nothing to uncover the whole truth behind these disturbing findings. Surely it can't be that the shock of being accused of being the Reaper yourself has erased that from your memory, can it? The whole truth, sir, has already been uncovered. It would seem that we have a great many important members of the judiciary present here today. I put it to you, my dear fellows, should the trial end at this juncture? After all, why have you been invited to attend? To nod along to the prevarications of your superiors. Order in court. It seems to me that we stand before a door that leads to a new era of legal practices. A door that is ajar. Let us emerge from the shadows of the Reaper's decade-long ascendancy. For you and you alone, my dear fellows, have the power to push this door open now. The auditors in the gallery have no rights to express an opinion on court proceedings. Silence!
He's right, the judge has absolute authority here. Yes, if he calls the trial to an end, it must end. But will that really do? I sense dark things occurring behind the scenes. Dark things indeed. Is there a single person here present who can honestly say he doesn't believe the same?
What's...
The trial should go on. Summon the witness. That's right, we need to clear this up before the young Japanese fellow is remanded in custody. My lord, you assure those present that you'd uncover the whole truth here. Vindicate yourself of this outlandish accusation. The truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. That's the very foundation of British law. A toast to my dependable colleagues in the gallery. On with the trial.
Well, my lord, you hear the voice of British justice, I take it. I think you'll find it will be rather awkward to silence. The court will recess briefly. I have no intention of shrinking from these allegations. Bailiff, arrange for the subpoena of the witness at once. As soon as the gentleman arrives at the courthouse, we shall reconvene. A recess won't be necessary, my lord. Pardon? Migatoba's a close friend of mine. He accompanied me today and is waiting in the antechamber as we speak. I do believe he's been enjoying a little trip down memory lane, in fact. What? Professor Migatoba's here in the courthouse?
Mr. Sholmes, you didn't know this would happen, did you?
My dear fellow, no one is in a better position to answer that question than you, surely.
I wasn't just asking for the fun of it, you know.
Well, I must thank you for your assistance in this matter, Mr. Sholmes. However, you are of no further use here. Kindly leave the courtroom at once.
But of course. In truth, I find myself rather busy now as a result of these developments.
Mr. Naruhodo.
Yes? I trust you have Iris's little lucky charm with you?
Absolutely. It's still in my pocket.
She sends her regards, and as a reminder, if you find yourself at a dead end, the ears are at your disposal. Just one tug, if you please.
Oh, of course.
In that case, the trial will continue without delay. Bailiff, show the witness to the stand.
So it's Lord Strongheart. He's the Reaper of the Bailey. Where exactly is this trial going to take me, I wonder? Just how deep am I about to be plunged into the blackness of the abyss? Well, I'm ready. I'm ready to head into the heart of this maelstrom and confront whatever horrors it tries to drown me under. Surely that's a to be continued, right? Let's go! I kind of want to go a little bit longer. Like, I kind of want to see the first little bit of the trial. Like, I'll stop right before the testimony is what I'm thinking. What the? Oh, okay, we're just here? Wow, there's like no introduction, it's just starting.
So, witness, please state your name and occupation for the court. Yujin Mikitoba, lecturer in forensic medicine at the Imperial Yume University in Tokyo, Japan.
And Gory's here too, I guess.
And Professor Mikitoba, the young lady beside you is... this is Dr. Maria Gory. Scotland Yard's practicing coroner, the daughter of Dr. Scythe, I understand.
Yes, Dr. Scythe.
I'm afraid I can't tell you why she's here. She just appeared.
And she's got a sideways glance.
You summon this strange Japanese man as a witness to the autopsy? But you don't summon Mama. That makes no sense. She was there too.
That's about the size of it. I've had her eyes boring into the side of my cheek constantly while I was in the antechamber too.
Poor man. The idea of it's making me shudder.
The revelations about Dr. Scythe that came to light some days ago defiled the reputation of the entire judiciary. She was therefore deemed unfit to appear as a witness in today's proceedings. The Ministry of Justice's decision on that is final.
Well, we wouldn't want any more perjury to be committed, would we? The Ministry of Justice. Some questionable strings are being pulled, I think.
I remember you, Dr. Mikitoba, but I certainly never expected to be meeting you under these circumstances. Yes, it's been a long while, Lord Strongheart. The prosecution understands that you were a visiting student of forensic science in London until 10 years ago. That's right. I studied under Dr. Watson at St. Simon's.
So you were present at the autopsy of my brother, Lord Clint Van Zeeks?
I was, yes. I assisted Dr. Wilson with the entire procedure.
Mama's far more skilled than a Japanese man.
Well, Dr. Watson asked me to be his primary assistant on that occasion. And this autopsy report was actually penned by you, I believe.
Yes, I noted all the doctor's findings, and when we were done, he read through the document and signed it.
Poor Mama. As a secondary assistant, she wouldn't have had such a good view of all the innards.
So, Professor, do you remember Inspector Gregson?
Yes, of course. If it wasn't for his insistence, Lord Van Zeek's autopsy would never have happened. But he was absolutely convinced that it revealed decisive evidence against Genshin, you see. So Lord Strongheart had to entreat the nobility to allow it to take place. Do correct me if I'm wrong, my lord. It was a result of the autopsy that a mass murder was apprehended and justice was done. But Gregson admitted it before he was killed. He admitted that the results of the autopsy were fabricated. You were there at the time, so you must testify. You have an obligation to tell the truth about what really went on. Absolutely. That's precisely why I'm here.
And that's why I'm here too.
Very well then. You give your formal testimony now, witness.
And I will give my save right now, because I think I'm probably going to end it here for today. Because we're going to have some pretty big testimonies next time, I reckon. So, yeah. Anyways, guys, thank you for watching Great Ace Attorney for today. We have a bit of a shorter one today, I guess, but I'm pretty excited for next episode, because we're doing the final part of the game, I believe, because I think it's just the trial of part 3, and then we're done. Maybe? Let me actually double check. I can check. The resolve of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Let me see. Yeah, it's trial resumption, testimony 3. Oh, there's gonna be like 5 more testimonies. God damn. I think. Yeah, or something like that. Well, I don't actually I don't know how many testimonies did I do. I think we just did Van Zeek's testimony, so I think there's 3 more testimonies, and then we're done with the game. Maybe a 4th one. I'm not sure. We'll see. But I'm gonna call it here for today. I'm gonna probably go for a walk until until Zeppy and Jose are ready to do Fire Emblem Awakening today. Because yes, we actually have the chance to play Fire Emblem Awakening now, because Jose found a way to get it working. So you might actually see a series on that today. So yeah. Alright guys, well, I will see you later. It may be in like 2 or 3 hours, I'm not sure, because he's probably not going to be up for a while, because I got up real early today so that I could stream Ace Attorney myself. Alright, well, enough waffling. I'll see you guys later, alright?